Story 1. Speak negatively about the other parent and involve her in our problems. They have done this my whole life. I hate it. Story 2. Saying because I said so instead of giving me a reason is unhelpful. Now, when my daughter asks why we can't do something, she gets a reason every time and a date when we can reasonably do it. If it will take a while, she is told that too. For example, it might be a Christmas present or a future birthday present. Nothing is a permanent no if I can manage it. I would have been fine being told we can't afford something, but because I said so always made me feel like she was using her authority just to assert power over me. Story 3. Hit them, shout at them, and tell them that they are stupid, as research shows this is harmful. Story 4. I am bringing them to therapy if they show symptoms of something as a child. I am not locking them down in the house and pretending I do not see what is unfolding. I have many concerns, but this one is important to me. Story 5. Kick them out at 18 with nowhere to go. They wonder why I do not call or help them in old age. Story 6. Yell at them for doing something, and then get mad when they call me out for doing the exact same thing. Also, I will not try to decide what they wear when they are a fully grown adult. Story 7. Telling them they are better than everyone else while also teaching them that no one likes them because of who they are. The contradiction between self-confidence and social anxiety is absurd. I will never praise them for being smart, beautiful, or talented. I praise effort and passion. Story 8. Use them to complain about my day for emotional support or start an argument between us in a restaurant in front of many people. Story 9. Slap them hard enough to see stars. Make them strip naked from the waist down for a spanking with a switch or belt. Threaten to give their adopted stray cat away as punishment for bad grades. Badmouth a boy or girl they like behind their back for not being good enough for them to date. Story 10. Have me. I'm not saying that to be funny, but growing up the way I did taught me that I don't want children at all, whether adopted or biological. I have gone through the necessary channels to ensure that I biologically cannot have children. I am very happy with that decision. I do not regret it, and still, to this day, I think it's the best decision I have made in my life. I'm sure my mom would love for me to be a good parent, but I just don't trust that to be a possibility. And with family like this, I'd rather not take the chance. Story 11. Negative comments about the body. Hitting them. Never apologizing. Gaslighting. Putting siblings against each other. Badmouthing the other parent, who is deceased in my case, to the point that I hated this parent as a child to please them. Screaming. Making the conversation about themselves. Overprotectiveness to the point of social isolation. Lying for attention. Dumping trauma. Manipulation. False promises. Story 12. Force them to go to church or impose a religion on them. I wouldn't say I am not religious, but I am not the kind of person who reads the Bible every day, goes to church every Sunday, and prays every night. I want my children to grow up to be people who think for themselves and question things. Often, Christians are thought to accept everything they read in the Bible, which is something I do not agree with. If they are curious about it, of course I will take them to Sunday school or church to try it out. But I am not going to be the mom who forces them to pray every night. I will be the kind of mom who encourages them to list things they are grateful for every night. Story 13. My parents ignored me, especially my mother. I never ignore my son. My parents showed me very little affection. I was always affectionate with my son. My father often insulted me. I don't insult my son. Neither of them ever praised me. I praise my son. My mother used to lock her bedroom door after dinner, cutting off all access. I never did that to my son. My parents rarely attended any of my events when I was at school. I rarely missed my son's events. My parents both made me feel that I was not worthy of love, attention, or success. I never made my son feel that way. Story 14. Beat them. Degrade them. Lock them in their room for days. Make them want to kill themselves. Not go to the police when there is suspected or known sexual assault. Allow family members and siblings to beat them regularly. Call them a liar when they try to reach out for help about their home life. Story 15. Force us to eat all our food, even when not hungry. Now I let my son tell me when he is hungry and always let him know his food will still be in the refrigerator when he feels hungry, even if it is not at this moment. Story 16. I love my parents and appreciate all they have done for me, but one thing I would do differently with my own children is avoid spoiling them. Growing up, I was given everything I needed, and while I am grateful for that, it also made it harder for me to develop independence and confidence in my own decision-making. Story 17. Forced me to do their unpleasant hobbies for years after knowing I did not enjoy them. I am not saying I just did not enjoy scouts and sailing. I hated every minute of it. My parents are actually confused about why my children are not in scouts. Story 18. Beat them. I gave you a roof and food. You should be grateful. I put you in this world. I can take you out. We are not friends. There is so much more on this list, to be honest. I will not do 90% of what my parents did. Story 19. This is not nearly as bad as some of the content in this post, but not providing consistent, healthy meals is problematic. Story 20. Do not believe them when they say something or someone is harming them. Do not invalidate their concerns and cries for help. Story 21. One of my biggest personal rules is that I absolutely will not say no to anything unless I have a rational, articulable reason. Otherwise, the answer has to be yes, possibly with conditions or warnings. I hated the phrase because I said so. Also, no beating children. Parents were out of control with that in the 1980s. Story 22. Spanking with a belt, also not losing my temper and hitting continuously in the same spot with the belt buckle. Yell and lose my temper because my child soiled their pull-up. Story 23. Force your own child to pursue your unfulfilled dreams, knowing very well they have their own dreams too. Story 24. Start yelling at them or start throwing things while they are sleeping. I still have post-traumatic stress disorder from being yelled at while awake. Story 25. My mom used to force-feed me. I remember how people thought you had to eat 8 to 10 small meals a day to lose weight. She constantly made me eat fruits and vegetables all day long. If I didn't eat them, she would scream at me until I did. She was also obsessed with making smoothies and forced me to drink them every day. I am 38 and only recently started eating fruit again. I will never drink a smoothie again. Story 26. My brother had bowel control issues until he was 10 years old, and they never allowed him to go to therapy because he was a boy. Story 27. Forgetting me at school or sports for more than an hour. Is it that hard to set an alarm? Sorry, my memory is bad. Story 28. Hit me, called me names, and allowed any man around me. Did not believe me when something finally happened. Did not teach me about appropriate and inappropriate touching. Dumped me with any and every friend. Left me and my 7-year-old sister alone for weeks. Made me beg for food at the store. Never hugged me. My daughter is treated like a princess and told she is loved every day. She is so different from me, and I love it. I was scared, shy, and felt ugly every day. I sought attention from men from a very young age. I used to cry every night. My child is the happiest, funniest, and most creative little girl I know. She is not afraid to say no and to express herself freely. She is not scared of me, and that is the biggest win. Story 29. God forbid we get divorced, but if we do, we should not use the children as pawns or abuse them for acknowledging the existence of the other parent. Story 30. Physically, mentally, and emotionally abuse her and tell her that everything she wants to be when she grows older is stupid. Story 31. My father was extremely physically abusive. I am not sure how many bones he broke. My mother was psychologically abusive, threatening to leave us children who were 10, 8, and 6 years old. She would leave around 10 p.m. and would not come back until well past 1 a.m. after we had gone to sleep. Years later, she left a suicide message and went missing for hours or days. Story 32. I do not have children and am too old now, but I would never make a child the scapegoat of the family. The child is the only respectful and well-behaved one. Story 33. Have a credit card cut up by a store clerk in front of the customer. Maybe store clerks do not do this anymore. Story 34. Getting mad at my son when he shuts down or gets frustrated and letting my daughter do things to upset him. Mine got mad at me for these things, and my brothers went through a difficult stage of triggering me purposely for my parents to get mad at me, escalating everything, and blaming me for being too anxious and overwhelmed. Story 35. The grabbing a child and throwing them into the water method of swimming lessons. I grew up to become an excellent swimmer, but this still upsets me when I think about it. Story 36. I was told it is a fend for yourself type of day most days. I was a very scrawny kid, but my parents just told everyone I was a picky eater. Story 37. Make them feel alone during elementary school events, like Christmas activities and plays. Anything meant to promote bonding. I hated those things. Some of my strongest memories were running to school alone because attendance was mandatory and seeing all the other kids with their parents. Or being in the play and being the only one without anyone there. Story 38. Complain about small things or ask others to do tasks I can do myself, especially if I am the one who wants whatever it is I am asking them to find or do. Avoid using physical punishment. Story 39. Fighting with each other in front of us, yelling, being short-tempered, criticizing my body and her own body. My father would also objectify other women in front of my mother and my brothers. He denied me therapy when I begged for it as a suicidal teen, forced me to clean my room because we don't have a dog to eat scraps around here, and then turned around and criticized my body as young as 8 for being fat, as if they didn't literally control my entire lifestyle and diet. Many things, really. Story 40. Finish your meal. If you don't like it, don't eat it. Become a better cook. They will eat their food. A few foods I won't touch because I was forced to eat that. Never have I made myself suffer through that. Story 41. Not having children, but I would make sure to discipline them adequately and teach them to do useful things such as chores and work. Story 42. I don't have children, but if I do, I will not use them as my personal psychologist. I have not gained the confidence to date because my mother keeps telling me everything my father has done wrong to her. Story 43. Call them a mistake and let them know it was serious, or watch them suffer, or kick them out of the family for dating outside their race. I last saw my half-brother when I was 7. I am also not having children. Story 44. What does hitting children do? I want my children to respect me, not be scared of me. I would never hit my children. It won't solve anything. Just like telling them I won't get mad if they tell me the truth, but then getting upset when they do. Or hitting them for just saying, suck, as if it's a bad word. My biological father beat me so badly I was shaking. I don't regret going no contact with him. Also, not threatening to send them to their other parent if they misbehave. Honestly, I don't really like either of my parents because of this. Story 45. They never let me be weird, man. I would let my kids be weird. I would let them be themselves. I would not make them feel bad about being goofy. Story 46. Constantly writing them about their weight and appearance. I was getting criticized from all directions, and instead of doing something about it, I was constantly under attack and exhausted by it, so I just ignored it. It has kept me from having a good relationship with my father in adulthood. I wish I had a better relationship with my body now more than I wish I could have a good relationship with my father. I know abuse isn't always intentional, but he just never let it go and still doesn't. If you are a parent reading this and you are doing this to your child, please stop. There are many ways you can help your kids if they are struggling. Constantly reminding them that they are failing you does not help them become mentally healthy adults. Story 47. Hog all the wealth and destroy the economy and housing market, and then gaslight my children into thinking it is because of their own shortcomings they are living a far tougher life than I do. Yes, my parents are baby boomers. Story 48. It's not exactly something my father did, but he actually didn't help. It was a lifelong issue. During childhood and prep school, I was constantly bullied. I told him what was going on at school, but he did nothing about it. I don't remember exactly how he reacted or what he said, but I remember it was useless to tell him. In high school, I was picked on again by being called names. I told him about that, and he told me not to take it seriously and just have fun. It was 2 years of hell, and the third year was better. When I was 16, I worked at a butcher shop. I was the youngest, so they picked on me again and made me work extra hard. When I told him, he advised me to be polite, apologize if I did something wrong, and just have fun. That experience was even worse than high school. Looking back, I realize how bad my father's advice was. There is also military service that every young man in our country must complete as a duty. Nowadays, it is like working for free for the government. Recruiters don't get paid well at all. The service lasts from 1 to 3 years to complete the full duty and be considered as having completed military service. I was really afraid of this, and my father said it would be the most beautiful days of my life, that I would meet great people, and that I must obey officers and not care if they humiliate me in any way. Now I am pretty sure my father is a complete masochist, and I have not taken any advice from him since then. Story 49. Abuse them. Never play with them. Leave them locked in their room for hours. Be an alcoholic. A hypocrite, or at least try not to be. I could go on and on. I don't talk to my parents. Story 50. When I became a father, I promised myself that I would do my best to support my child's passion. My parents were not able to do that when I was a kid. Their answer was always no if I wanted to do something. Story 51. My parents never let me go anywhere. They never let me attend social events with friends or get too close to them. I was the kid who was never allowed to attend birthdays and never played sports. I struggled in university to connect with people and had extreme trust issues. That will not happen with my kids. Story 52. Tell them that their dream job does not pay well and they need to find a real job. All I have ever wanted was to be a chef. Cooking is my passion, but now I have spent $30,000 on college tuition to study a field I do not truly care about. I was excited at first, learning something new that I knew nothing about. I do not regret learning, but can I see myself doing this job until I am 65? Absolutely not. But what do I do now? I am $30,000 in debt. It gets worse. My stepfather turned out to be a drug dealer. He has been selling methamphetamines and contraband cigarettes and was recently arrested. The field I studied is pharmacy. His actions are my consequence. Story 53. Scream at them for hours. Scream at them at all. Hit them. Force them to fit a mold based on religion. Refuse to apologize for being or doing wrong. Force them to walk on eggshells for fear of setting me off. Kind of seems like I went through a lot when I write it out like that. Story 54. Force my own beliefs onto them, be it political or religious. I was forced to go to church until I turned 18, punished if I ever refused. My children have their own minds. They can decide what they want to believe, and I will support them either way. Get angry for children doing child things. I was so afraid to admit any kind of mistake to my parents as it always ended in shouting. I prefer to have a relationship with my children where they can come to me if they are in trouble. All it did for me was make me a good liar. I did not trust my parents with anything. Tell them to go away or to be quiet. I was constantly told to be quiet or to go away. Not in a deliberately nasty way, but they just did not have any patience for any of us. I make time for my children. I plan activities for us to do together. I listen. Listening to your child is very important. My daughter is such a chatterbox. She hardly ever stops talking, but I listen to her. I never want to make her feel like I am not interested in her or what she has to say. It takes more than feeding and clothing a child to be a parent. Story 55. Send children to school without lunch or a way to get lunch for days or weeks at a time and then say they have been getting chubby anyway. I was 8 years old when it started to happen and I was underweight. Story 56. Tried to force them to marry the man just for spending the night with him. This is very common in our culture. Story 57. My mother used to say, I am dying by inches. It hurt me so much as a child, and I vowed never to say it myself. So far, I have not. 79 years and counting. Story 58. Wash her mouth out with soap. I won't lie, I have threatened it, but it is such a visceral memory for me that I know I would never actually do it. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.